Hey everybody, Jeremy and Daryl here from Chain Out Podcast.
And we're here with a course walkthrough of Rundle Park Disc Golf Course.
We're amateurs, and if this is your first time playing Rundle Park, we're hoping to give you some tips that have helped us along the way and makes your round just a little bit easier.
Let's get to it.
Hole number 1 at Rundle Park. We don't start you out with an easy one. This one's a dog leg to the right that goes downhill towards the baskets. You've got a lot of trouble in your way. First of all this orange fencing is OB, and then you have a mando tree on your right marked with the red arrow. You need to throw left. What are your plays? Try a forehand throw that just fades past the mando and towards the basket, or a backhand turnover. If you do happen to miss the mando or go OB, you're heading to the drop zone on the left. If you went OB or missed the mando, you're coming to the drop zone marked by these red stakes. If they're not in place, head to the road and look for this tall tree and set up beside it. You've got a straight shot with a couple trees obstructing you. It is sloping downhill, so make sure you land your disc softly. Hole 2 is straight down the hill and across the path.
Okay, hole number 2 gets a little bit easier after hole number 1. Straight shot, 217 feet in the short position. Path on the right is OB, but consider all paths at Rundle Park OB. Common miss, hyzer out too early, end up on the left-hand side. You don't want to go too long because you'll be in the trees. In the long position, there's a few guardian trees to contend with, but it's still just a straight shot. That's hole 2. Hole 3, straight across the path, tee pad up the hill.
Hole number 3 is another difficult par 3. You're going to be throwing uphill. You've got a big spruce tree in the middle of the fairway. There's a mandatory that you need to go left. If you end up in the orange fencing, you're OB, and there'll be a drop zone. What are your shots? Try a backhand with a little bit of turnover, or try a forehand and hyzer around that mando. But again, we've got a path that's on the left as well. All right, here's the drop zone on hole 3. It's not an easy one. You're gonna have to throw it low, but go uphill at the same time to scoot under the basket. Hole 3 is the last of the confusing holes. After that, you're going to want to cross the road and walk up the hole to tee pad 4.
Okay, when you get up here to hole 4, you're going to start to feel the breeze. In the short position, it's 232 feet straight up the fairway. It's a nice easy shot. When it's in the long position, it's 277 over a slight gully. You want to make sure you give it enough disc to get to the top of the bank. If you come up short, you could roll down the hill back down to the fence line. One thing to note, there's a common miss. If you do miss to the right and go into the public works yard, you're not advised to go over the fence and get your disc back. There is a buzzer at the front gate. You can just buzz. If anybody's in there, they'll go get your disc for you. Or if you have a nice retriever, you can try and reach over the fence. So this is where my first shot landed. You can see it's right next to the basket. This is the optimum landing position. Where I am right now is where you might be if you have a tricky shot and you roll back all the way down to the bottom of the fence. This is not an easy putt. You do not want to be here.
Hole number 5. The basket's almost always in the short position, 150 feet straight down the fairway. Fairway gradually goes downhill with a sharp decline behind the basket. Chances are you should be throwing a putter, maybe a berg, and ace this hole like my co-host Daryl.
Okay, hole number 6. After what you should be looking at for a birdie for hole number 5, hole number 6 gets a little bit tougher. It's 265 to the short pin, 370 to the long pin, which is sometimes used for tournaments. It's a sloping left to right fairway. You want to make sure you throw something hard enough that it's going to get down there. You want to stay turned all the way down, a little bit of fade towards the basket. There is a tree overhanging, so anything that finishes high up on the bank on the left, you are going to be obstructed aiming at the basket. There's a hero line to the right-hand side if you want to throw a big hyzer throw over the trees and spike hyzer near the basket. On the right-hand side down by the basket, there is pathway, and like we said, all paths are considered OB. After the basket of hole 6, to go to hole 7, you want to take the high road, head up the hill, cross the path, you'll see the gap between the trees, and that's the way to hole 7.
Hole 7 is the first of 2 par 4s on the course, and it's a long one. In the short position, you're throwing 555. In the long position, you're throwing 620. Off the tee pad, take your favorite disc, grip it and rip it. A lot of people tend to favor the left, but there is a line on the right side as well. Well, that drive wasn't as far as I'd like it to be, but I am on the left side of the fairway. If you look down in the center, you'll see 3 spruce trees. You're either going to angle to go around them on the left towards the basket or go low and to the right. I like the left line. I'm standing at the short basket, which is protected by these guardian trees. The white pole behind me identifies the long basket with the trees backing it as well.
Okay, hole 8, par 3, 300 to the short pin, 340 to the long pin, but you can probably add 50 feet to that with it being uphill. According to the tee sign, the play is to the fairway out in the right-hand side. You've got a lot of space. What tends to happen is your shots will hyzer out too soon and you'll end up in the trees. Then you've got a tricky upshot through the trees to the basket. If you're in the short position, it's makeable. If it's in the long position, good luck.
Hole number 9, after this one, you're halfway through. It's a par 3, 335 feet in the short position, 375 feet in the long position, and this one goes downhill. That's going to affect your drive a lot. If your disc turns, it's going to keep on turning. If it fades, it's going to keep on fading. So pick your most reliable disc, throw it straight down there, and let's see what happens.
Okay, start of the back 9, hole number 10. 206 to the short pin, 236 to the long pin. If you're looking for a birdie, this is an opportunity. Wide open fairway, go straight down the fairway with something late fading. You don't want to fade too soon because you'll be in the trees on the left-hand side, then your second shot's going to be very obstructed.
Hole 11 is a par 3, and the main feature of this hole is the side hill. You'll also see a big tree that's going to cause some trouble for you, especially when the basket's in the short position. In the short position, try a high hyzer or maybe a low skip shot. In the long position, you're just going to throw a nice disc out there and hopefully be in good spot for birdie. Most of the time as an amateur golfer, we're looking to get a birdie on this hole. Good luck.
Hole 12 at Rundle Park is the signature hole. You start on an elevated tee pad and it's a dogleg left. There's a big tree on the right hand side that eliminates the backhand hyzer. For those brave enough, there's a lake on the left hand side for a forehand shot and crash through the trees up to the basket. The most common play is a straight shot avoiding the tree with a late fade around the dogleg to the left.
If hole 12 was the signature hole of the course, hole 13 is one of the most difficult. It's a par 3, but it feels like a par 4 for us amateurs. If the basket's in the short position, which is more to the left, that left-hand lane is open to you. Otherwise, you can go straight down the middle here and try to land on the upper side of that gully. If you've got a hero shot in you and the basket's in the long position, throw a big, huge hyzer over the road through this gap, and when you get to the other side, you're going to have an open look. In any choice that you make, good luck.
Hole 14 is one of your birdie opportunities, if not an ace. 132 in the short position, 174 in the long position. Your play, a straight putter, a little bit of a hyzer if you want to spike it. Be careful though, because if you go long, you could roll away down the hill.
Hole 15, approximately 250 feet to the short position and 300 feet to the long position. You can see the basket right through this tempting tunnel, and if you've got a straight shot, go for it. But the most common play is to go right, throw a high hyzer out there, and then enjoy watching that disc fade towards the basket. If hole 13's basket's in the short position, it's a mandatory that you go right. Enjoy your shot.
Hole 16 is the second hole where water comes into play. It's on the left-hand side of the fairway. You have a tree in the middle of the fairway with a low-hanging branch, which will gobble up your discs like nothing. The play, forehand over the lake. Hopefully it comes back onto the fairway. The other play, straight down the fairway, a little bit of turn, but you want to make sure it's going to fade late. Otherwise, you'll be back in the water.
Hole 17 is a long par 3 that slopes upward at the end. The short position is a little bit up the hill. The long position is tucked around the corner on the left. It's really just a straight long shot, but be careful. If you fade too far left and cross the pathway, you're going to be out of bounds. Good.
Okay, we made it here to hole 18, and it's a punishing par 4 to end your round. As an amateur, you'd be happy just to take the par. It's a dogleg right with the second half of the hole uphill. Off the tee, you want to end it straight in the middle or just a little bit to the right. You don't want to go long. You definitely don't want to go left because you'll be cut off by trees on your second shot. So this is a common landing area with the forehand shot. Gives you a nice wide open shot up to the fairway. One thing to make sure to note on your second shot, there is OB path on the right hand side. It is a busy park, so be careful not to throw when people are coming down the hill. An ideal landing area is somewhere a little bit further up here. You have the two trees to mark left and right of the fairway. Landing anywhere around here is a better shot. It gives you a more straight angle up the fairway to avoid the trees. Again, be careful with the pedestrians on the right hand side coming down the path. We all like to play disc golf. We don't want to ruin anyone's day. Okay, that concludes our 18-hole walkthrough of Rundle Park Disc Golf Course.
If you enjoyed the content, please like, subscribe, and comment.
Also, if you're a local to the area and you've played the course, and there's any other tips that you want to put in that we didn't cover, leave them in the comments below.
There's only one thing to do now, and that's chain out!